Huh. Oh, were you the guy that kidnapped her son? Maybe. Let's see over here. Yeah, okay. So yeah, Shogo's just dead as shit. Well, we'll go in order. So, or should we? Because this one, like, starts a bit and then starts. We'll go in order. Not dreams. When the son of Haru. Oh, you're the one investigating the. Oh, makes sense. Yeah, because private investigator makes sense that you're the one doing that shit. Yeah. When the son of Haru Shigima was kidnapped, a botched investigation by the police resulted in the child's murder. Yeah, 1 year later, Haru has hired a private investigator to help resolve the unsettled case. Late at night, while speaking to the detective at her home, something strange suddenly appears. May those who mock fires perish in flame. Kill them. Kill them. The flame bearers. Kill them all. You have acquired the power of the curse stone, the haunting clappers. You can use it to kill those with fire or fire starting devices on their person. Please use the curse button to start your target. What the fuck is his name? Oh, well. I'll read that now once the fire goes away. A murderous impulse seeps into my soul like a thick black tar. Now. Kill. Can you hear it, curse bearer? You who strongly desires the right. Kill them. Ah, so okay, if it is like a cahoots thing, right? Of the detective helping her, maybe that's why he asked us or asked people for smokes. Because then he's like, "Oh, this fuck has a lighter, you know." Back with me, ma'am. Actually, give me a second, buddy. The clappers. Where are you? Yeah. Red. Everything is dyed crimson. My home is burned to the ground. It's so hot. It's hot. So hot. I must call for help, but I cannot speak. My throat must be burned up from the smoke. No, I think I'm already on fire. That's right. We'll just use the clappers. Clack, clack. Is anybody there? Clack, clack. Why is no one coming? I'm going to burn to death. How did it come to this? All right, her. It must be the work of that vixen who appeared suddenly and enchanted my lord. That witch who hauntingly cold eyes had my lord dancing in the palm of her hand. Perhaps I was also taken in by her. How innocent people did I lure in under orders. This must be karma. The sound of a heavy bell feels like my head will split open. All right, the evening bell. That must be why nobody can hear the sound of my clappers. I've got to do it louder. Clack, clack. Can't say I understand what just happened, but it certainly seems to have put you in a good mood. This might be the first time I've ever seen you really smile. Sweet dreams? Haru Shigima. Haru is a housewife who resides in a manor near Shumoku Bridge. Her 11-year-old son, Shuichi, was kidnapped and murdered about a year ago. The death was the result of a mistake on the part of the detectives assigned to the case, a mistake which enraged the kidnapper and had him cut off all contact with the police. Leaving no room for negotiation. I see. As it was covered up and Shuichi's killer remains at large, pleading the aggrieved Haru to call on the services of private investigator Richter Kai to uncover the truth. The Shigima family came from a line of samurai who built their residence in Honjo during the Edo period. They assumed important positions in the police force following the Meiji Revolution, thereby protecting their family elevated status. Even today, many in the Shigima line work as police bureaucrats and senior police officers. Haru's father sits in the upper echelons, of the National Police Agency, and her husband, adopted into the Shigima clan through an arranged marriage, is also a highly respected agency officer. Like a Shigima. Oh, you're lying. Okay. Yeah. Okay. However, as her family prioritized work above all else, it wasn't long before Haru's marriage grew cold. Though she wants for nothing, she is isolated from her neighbors and withdrawn from society. Seeing her son grow into a young man gave Haru a purpose in life, but it was cut short by the kidnapping incident. Following the incident, Haru spent many days in a deep depression, breaking into sudden fits of shouting and wandering around in the middle of the night. Her cheerful, loving disposition faded away, and she took to making snide remarks at her husband, which only further soured their relationship. A few months ago, Haru's husband was transferred to another area for work and now rarely returns home, with Haru left to live in the large, empty mansion alone. As a housekeeper who has been with the family for a long time comes in to take care of all the housework, Haru has nothing but time on her hands. Maybe the housekeeper is, what's-her-face? Yoko. It doesn't say where she works. It's a housekeeper. Yeah. No. Not dreams. Sounds like something I might want to hear about. My heart's still racing. This is it. My chance at long last. A color television. Father bought one as soon as it hit the market. He likes to have his little gadgets. Unlike the latest models, there's no remote control. We've had it for a long time. Back when it was new, we gathered around it and marveled at it as a family. But with father and my husband being away so often, it quickly fell into disuse. Yeah, fax machine. It can send images to other places along the telephone network. I don't really know how it works. Most households don't have one, and I rarely find a use for it. The telephone. This mansion has a private line. You can also send messages and shit through that. An arrangement of flowers. We bring in someone to do it. I don't even know what the flowers are called. An old hanging scroll. I don't know who painted it. It's been hanging here since I was born. The lights. The chandelier is the only thing in here that's my choice. It's my favorite part of the room. A stereo unit with separated speakers designed for home use. My husband insisted on buying one, even though he isn't one to listen to music often. Well, I'll be damned. Is that what I think it is? Goodness, you made me jump. It's just a silly little sticker my son got from somewhere or other. He put it up just before. Well, you know what. Or you know what happened. I still can't bring myself to take it down. Let me take a closer look. I knew it. It's head Honjo from way back and set number 1. It's a real collector's item. Excuse me? Don't tell me you've never heard of the mockingbirds. The what? They're the hottest new craze. Cute little birds dressed up like rough and tumble delinquents. I've never heard of them, but this certainly seems to matter to you. The best part is nobody knows who made them. They just started showing up around town, and soon enough, they'd won everybody's hearts. The story goes that they've been made by some anonymous artist who covertly leaves them behind in specific locations. No one knows when or where they'll show up next. They're basically an urban legend of sorts. To think one would turn up here, of all places, is a good sign, I'm sure of it. Oh well, that's nice. Approach the net. Yeah, nothing. Yeah. Let me bring you up to speed. We were in the middle of a chat when you suddenly started spacing out, and then the whole time you were grinning to yourself like you just won the lottery. Care to tell me what that was all about? Well, where to start? I probably should have inspected him first. Interesting. Very interesting. So the haunting clapper's curse echo appeared out of nowhere. I told you how to perform the rite of resurrection and gave you the curse you'll need to do it. Have I got that right? Wait. Yeah. That's right. So it's all real. Honestly, I still find it hard to believe, but I guess I have to now. I saw that curse stone appear in your hand myself. It looked like it popped clean out of thin air. With evidence that clear, there's no denying it that there's some supernatural force at work. A private investigator I hired, a friend told me about him. They said he's not very well known, but he's good at what he does. When I first visited his office in Ota City and saw how he dressed, I could hardly believe he was a detective. But after talking to him for a while, I changed my mind. He says some strange things at times, but he seems like a reliable sort. The center man, ran to... Yeah. Once a police officer, Richter was racked with guilt over the police inability to help all those in need and quit the force to start his own private investigation firm. However, his soft-hearted nature leads him to take on too many cases, as put his office in dire financial straits. How he is still in business is a mystery, with some whispering that a wealthy patron is keeping him afloat. Richter studied alongside Detective Jun Iro. Ah. Okay. At the police academy, somewhat surprisingly, given his outlandish clothing and mannerisms, Richter excels at covert investigations and tailing his targets. He proudly refers to himself as an investigator extraordinaire, though that only ever succeeds at impressing himself. Richter's biggest source of happiness is nuzzling his pet female albino parakeet, Ernestine, which he keeps in his office. He also enjoys collecting mockingbird stickers, a popular line of merchandise featuring birds inexplicably dressed like delinquents. He can be frequently sighted searching around the town for them. While out and about, Richter typically leaves the office, and more importantly, Ernestine, in the care of Amamori, a junior high schooler who volunteered... Oh, that's probably the girl. Who volunteered to assist Richter after being involved in a previous case. Oh, so this guy probably helped her with the girl that committed suicide as well. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I knew he wasn't a bad guy. Or, I don't know. Files updated. Richter Kai, private investigation firm in Kamada, Ota City. Originally, Kai thought to give it a simple name like Kai's detective agency, but upon hearing that people are more likely to pick names listed at the front of the phone book, alphabetically, he decided to pick an... Ooh, that's... especially back then, bro? Yeah, you're right. With an A, thus the Azure Heron Agency was established. However, it is questionable whether the heron, a bird of somewhat ominous significance, is an effective symbol for attracting customers. Even his own assistant has referred to the name as confusing at best. After all, rather than Azure Heron, Richter keeps a white parrot as a pet. It dresses not in blue, but mostly in white. If there was a symbolic connection to be made here, it has surely been lost on all but Richter himself. A private investigator, also known as a private eye, is a detective who operates their own agency, although there are no formal qualifications necessary to become a private investigator. Many are retired police agents or detectives due to the similarities between the work involved. At a glance, private investigator firms and inquiry offices might look similar, but they carry out different types of investigations. Inquiry offices specialize in conducting credit checks on businesses, while private investigators are generally involved in tailing persons of interest and gaining information surreptitiously. Yep. If I heard the word, it's just, I'm not stupid. I'm just a little bit stupid. Yeah. I don't think you quite understand. Oh, this isn't about evidence, and it isn't about relief or belief. It's more than that. I know it's real. The moment the curse appeared, I knew everything before it even said a word. It was already there in my head, as clear as day. You just knew, huh? It was etched onto my soul, along with the curse echoes resentful memories. So I can feel it, what it was like. Dying like they did hundreds of years ago, wreathed in flame, writhing in pain as my flesh blackens and my blood boils. I can feel it. All the agony, all the rage. It fills me with bloodlust. ... I think I need to kill someone. Anyone will do, just as long as they're carrying fire. I see, that could be a problem. Do you think so? From what I know of you, oh, sure, you'd see it as an opportunity. The stronger the desire to resurrect someone, the stronger the urge to kill. That's how it seems to me. Anyways, good grief. Talk about a spanner in the works. I say we take stock for a moment and remind ourselves where we've come from and where we're going. That might be a good idea. Just give me, I'm gonna save. Just give me 1 second. Okay. My heart's so ready. Yeah. What the fuck is behind you? About the investigation. That's what you hired me for, ma'am. To look into your son's kidnapping last year. To uncover the truth behind the abduction and murder of Shuichi Shigima. Oh yes, I remember. Never did find the one who did it. That's what I'm here about today. In fact, kind of you to let me drop by so late, by the way. I've been turning over every last stone and I've come up with a grand total of 1 lead. So you said. As far as the police are concerned, it's a cold case, but I've managed to make some headway. I remember, you were just about to tell me. My god. Kidnapping and murder case that took place in Honjo, Sumida around 1 year ago. The son, age 11, was kidnapped on his way home from school with a ransom being demanded at that same evening. Initially, the kidnapping was thought of as a simple extortion scheme, but when it came to light that the Shigima family was closely tied to the police, and Shuichi was in fact the grandson of a senior official, it was quickly assumed that the perpetrator was acting upon a grudge against the police force. The kidnapping was treated as a direct attack against the good name of the police, and a large-scale investigation was launched that used the best equipment available to trace phone calls. This made it all the more embarrassing when they were unable to catch the culprit, losing the public's confidence. The culprit grew cocky, relentlessly mocking the police force. After 3 days of failure after failure, Haru reached a breaking point. Spurred by the concern for her son, she resolved to hand over the ransom money as fast as possible, but her husband and father, who held the prestige of the police in high regard, refused, saying that they would not let the criminal win by giving in to their demands. An increasingly frantic detective assigned to the case lost his temper when the criminal called to give an ultimatum, causing the culprit to never make contact again. Another week passed and Shuichi's body was found floating in the Sumida River. Shuichi's death could be largely ascribed to the police's incompetence, but this was ultimately covered up with stringent media embargoes. The investigation was never closed, but the case has long gone cold. Those motherfuckers. The only son, yeah, he was kidnapped. Shuichi was a conscientious, brave young boy who was determined to protect his mother. Haru, amid his father's frequent absences, he dreamed of becoming a police officer and displayed diligence and an impressive sense of responsibility from a young age, likely due to being raised in an extremely strict environment. Born in the early 70s, he spent his days immersed in various activities and studies, including playing piano, learning the abacus, taking English lessons, and training in kendo. Shuichi's tendency to put other people's needs over his own meant he died without ever telling his classmates how much he longed for them all to go out on a hunt for mockingbird stickers. About the investigation, you know, we still need to figure out exactly what you want me to do. Tell you what. Why don't I tell you what I've found and then we can make a decision, alright? You know, we still need to figure out, yeah. So why aren't you putting a check mark on that bitch? I suppose there's not much point going over the kidnapping itself. No, I'm very familiar. Then I'll leave that for the files to cover and just confirm a few things about the case. The police traced the culprit's calls back to, let's see here, northern Oyoko River here in Sumida City. It's quite a wide area, that's right. And then they never managed to nail down exactly where the calls were coming from, but it was almost certainly the same location that Shuichi's was being held captive, since Shuichi's voice could be heard during the killer's calls. Northern Oyoko River is quite a distance from Shuichi's normal school commute, factoring that he was seen at school but went missing before he arrived at his house. It's likely that he was abducted by a car on his route home. Maybe, but... Exactly. Shuichi was a clever boy. He never would have gone in a car with a stranger. That's right. I was very firm about that. I know he understood too. I even saw him warning the other children. It's possible that they forced him into the car. The only issue there is that there weren't any witnesses to the kidnapping. You can't bundle someone into a car with that many students around and not be noticed. But nobody came forward to say they saw anything suspicious. So did they target him at some other time or somewhere away from his usual route? Both of those seem a little far-fetched, which raises the question of how did the kidnapper pull it off? One of the things I think of, but like it ended up turning as a fucking collectible thing, is that the fucking guy doing the artist for the little fucking pigeon shits could be the guy that murdered, but since they turned it into a collectible, I'm unsure if that's the actual case. So yeah. Police never managed to find an answer. In the end, they decided that the kidnapper must have just gotten lucky. Well, why not turn the problem on its head? The kidnapper managed to convince Shuichi to get into the car, but how? The only thing that makes sense to me is they were somebody that he would have reason to trust, a teacher perhaps, or a relative, or somebody else that he knew. But all the adults Shuichi had alibis. The police checked them all thoroughly. They did, huh? No one throws numbers at a problem like the cops. But what if it wasn't someone he knew? Or rather, or the culprit disguised himself as a police officer? I see. That would explain why he didn't find them suspicious. The Shigima family has close ties with the police. After all, he would have had reason to trust them. You might be right. But surely that couldn't have... Well, there's a problem with the theory. You'd be surprised how much police officers stand out. Sort of the point, after all. They're meant to be visible, a visible deterrent against crime. ... Makes sense, makes sense. Yeah, bitch, yeah. But here's another interesting little bit of trivia I happen to know. When you ask people to imagine someone suspicious, nobody pictures women or children. ... Even kids who've been warned about stranger danger often subconsciously expect that danger to look like an adult man. Besides, Shuichi was the sort of boy who wanted to be a police officer when he grew up. He must have had a very strong sense of right and wrong. That's right. Wait, surely you can't mean... Now you're getting it. If, say, a young woman approached Shuichi asking for help, what would he have done? ... Someone like that said they were lost and asked him for directions. Would he have gone into a car? He might have. My husband always told him that a man has a duty to watch out for women and children. You could certainly argue that kind of attitude is outdated nowadays, but if Shuichi believed it, then we might have something here. And you think the culprit was a young woman, but it was a man's voice on the phone. She might have been an accomplice, or maybe she didn't even realize she was being used. If anything, that would explain why she hasn't come forward. She herself might not realize she had anything to do with the case. So the question is, did anyone see Shuichi speaking with a young woman on the day of the disappearance? See what I said about people's biases? That goes for witnesses too. And I figured that maybe if I started asking new questions, I might get some new answers. So I spent my day asking around Shuichi's school route, seeing if anyone had seen something. ... And one man thought he had. You mean he saw it happen? Well, I can't say that for sure yet. Turned out he wanted something from me, so he asked if we could talk in private. So you beat his ass and got the information out of him, right? Several hours earlier. Alright, this should do. There's no one around. We can speak in confidence. Excuse me, what was your name again? Junoichi. Got it. Well, Junoichi, I'm all ears. Just so we're on the same page. You're a private detective investigating Shuichi Shigima's kidnapping. Do I have that right? Of course, what else do I look like? How should I know that a private detective looks... Oh, how should I know what a private detective looks like? Oh, forget it. Look, I'll tell you straight. My life is in danger. I need your help. ... You'll excuse me if that caught me a little off guard. Let me ask you straight. Who is trying to kill you? ... A student called Michio Shiraishi. Interesting. A schoolgirl, eh? Sounds like you've been naughty. It's nothing like that. That girl, she's a murderer. I'm the one... I'm the only one who knows, but I saw what she did. Michiyo Shirishi. I saw her kidnap Shuichi. Oh, is that the schoolgirl? It's just we don't know. We don't have her in our shit yet, you know? I don't remember her name. I don't know. She never mentioned her name. So it's either... It's either the schoolgirl... Is it the different schoolgirl or the schoolgirl that helped out the detective? Because we saw that there was a schoolgirl that was in his like detective shit, like in his bio. Come again? I saw her talk to him on the street and lead him away. I didn't think much of it at the time, but then he went missing. She murdered him, I'm sure of it, or at least she got someone to do it. That's what you're here for, isn't it? Then you can't let her get to me. That's true. You've been sitting on some valuable info. Why didn't you tell anybody? Well, you see, if you can't explain that, then I don't have any reason to believe you. I couldn't. She told me she'd kill me if I spoke a word. You're telling me a schoolgirl had you scared for your life. So you've been sitting on that all this time, and you think she's coming for you now that you've spilled the beans? Yes, that's it, exactly. I'm begging you, don't let her get to me. Arrest her, I'm telling you, she's a demon. Well, you seem to believe what you're saying, but it just doesn't add up. How could a schoolgirl have a fully grown man so terrified? You don't know what she can do. She'll curse me. Curse you? I'm sorry, but you're losing me here. It's true, her house, it's... forget it. Why do I even bother? You seem dubious enough to believe me, but I should have known you'd never understand. Enough, I'll find someone else to help me. Hey. Indeed. And that's about the long and short of it. I can hardly believe it. At the time, I thought his mention of curses was just crazy talk, but I'm starting to see that there might have been more to it than if we can just find that girl. Curse or no curse, if she was with Shuichi on the day of the kidnapping, then there's a good chance she knows something. On top of that, I did some digging to the man I spoke to. His name's Kohei Jonuichi. He's a teacher at Komagate High School here in Sumida. A teacher, then this schoolgirl is one of his students. I think that's very likely. I'm going to save. And so I'll write this, yeah. Anyways. Oh, God. About the kidnapping. At last, we got a lead. Hopefully, it'll be the breakthrough we're looking for. Yeah. About the Rite of Resurrection. The Rite of Resurrection, huh? I read about that in a cult magazine the other day. Apparently, some old book showed up recently with all the gory details. They say that the rite can be found somewhere in Honjo. I remember the first time you told me about that, I felt like my prayers had been heard. Like I had hope, real hope for the first time. Ever since that awful day, I wondered, what if I hadn't sent him to school? What if I just paid the ransom? Not a day goes by when I don't think that if I'd done something differently, Shuichi would still be alive. You can't blame yourself, ma'am. It was the culprit's fault, not yours. Though I know that won't help any grief, or I know that won't help any. Grief is funny like that. I'm guessing that's why you're after the right. Guess I didn't need to ask. It's written all over your face. I can tell how much he meant to you. But, and this is a big but, if this right is the real deal, using it will mean killing someone and stealing their soul. Is that a problem? If it comes to that, I'm afraid I'll have to stop you. Oh, that's a shame. A shame, huh? That's all? I thought if I'm going to be competing with other curse bearers, then your detective skills might come in useful. You realize you're talking about ending someone's life, right? Don't you see an issue with that? I think any parent in my position would happily kill for a chance like this. That's so, is it? Dear, oh dear, what have I gotten myself into? Oh, I guess I never looked at the fucking table. I don't know where Father got this old thing from, but I've never liked it. Well. If it makes you uncomfortable, then you won't have to get any blood on your hands yourself. I don't need you to kill the other curse bearers. I only need you to find them. I won't be party to murder, ma'am. Not even a client. I'll pay you. How much can I give you to change your mind? Sorry, ma'am, but not everyone has a price. I've got my policies and I stick to them. I see, I didn't realize you were so stubborn. Let me say, though, it's not like I don't get what you're going through. As long as you're not killing anyone with your own hands, maybe I can help you out. What do you have in mind? Well, how about stealing someone else's curse stone after they filled it with soul dregs? If that was all that you're after, then I could lend you my services guilt-free. If the other curse bearers want to kill each other, that's their business. I'm not trying to be a hero here. I guess there's no guarantee a stolen curse stone will work, but we can worry about that later. Well then, I suppose we have a deal. Although, what if I stole a curse stone using my curse? Would you disapprove? That would void our contract, ma'am. Just warning you now. My. Well, you did it that time. About my curse. Before we go any further, why don't you tell me about the curse of yours? The Haunting Clappers, was it? That's one of the 7 mysteries of Honjo, if I remember correctly. That's right. The original story did happen somewhere near here, I think. I'm sure I remember hearing that. In that case, my money would go on all the curse bearers being somewhere in Honjo. Our first move should be to narrow them down. Some of them are bound to try to come for you first. We'll need to be ready. The curses make their bearers more willing to kill, so an attack could come from anywhere. That sounds sensible. And if I remember correctly, your haunting clappers can set people on fire, but only if they have a naked flame or a lighter on their person. Is that right? That's right. In olden times, wooden clappers were used to warn people of fire. Ah, I did not know that. I'm guessing it punishes those who don't heed the warning. It seems like a good cause to have, or a good curse to have. It's simple and straightforward enough to use. Although it's hard to say how it stacks up without knowing what else is on the table. You really think it's that good? The target can't do much to throw it off, and it has a nice long activation window. It's big that it works on lighters too. Just slip one into your target's pocket, and say that condition were already fulfilled before they even knew you're there. They wouldn't even know what hit them. Maybe I want to actually have to use it. I could just tell someone I could. I could just tell someone I could, and they'd have to do what I said. The rest could work, although without any proof, it'll come down on how convincing you can be. If only you could use the curse, then back out at the last second. At the last second, what an interesting idea. I have a lighter right here. We could try it now. That's an interesting proposition, but maybe not. I'm not quite crazy enough to make myself a guinea pig. Oh, I see. You're an odd one, ma'am, if you don't mind me saying, and I don't think it's just the curse. You flatterer. As for what we do next, first of all, I think you should stay indoors. Try not to do anything spontaneous or outside of your normal routine. Right then, have you decided what you want me to work on? Well, investigate the kidnapping, right? Like, so she could find the son of a bitch. Finally, I have a lead. I need to know what happened to my son. Your wish is my command, ma'am. I'll focus all my efforts onto looking for the kidnapping, although something just occurred to me. You can't investigate them. You can't investigate the matter at night, can you? At least until the sun rises. Could you search for the other curse bearers? Alright, I see how it is. Well, I'd be happy to help. Odds are good that the other curse bearers are also working by night. Anyone they kill under the cover of darkness won't be discovered until sunrise. I bet they'll be trying to do as much as they can before the morning comes. So it's settled then. I'll look into the other curse bearers by night. And once the city wakes up, I can start asking questions. I'll investigate the kidnapping as well. I'll even try to find Mrs. Shiraishi as part of the bargain. Thank you, that's more than enough. Now then, I should get to work. There's only so much time before sunrise. I'll call you if I find anything new. You stay here and keep a lookout, alright? There's no telling what kinds of curses you might find on the streets tonight. Don't go outside if you can help it, and try to be ready for anything. I will. Well, if that's all I should be getting, I should be going. Where is that at? I feel like I've seen that before, that background. Well, it doesn't look like it can go down. Maybe like eventually it'll just end up dropping Tetsuo's shit down. Oh, Yako, that's your fucking name. What did he say? Mrs. Shiraishi. So not the same person. Okay, good to know. Good to know. Despite having obtained the curse of the haunting clappers, Shigima is determined to use the rite of the resurrection by stealing the remaining curse stones. She instructs her private investigator, Richter, to find the curse bearers. Alright. 1 a.m. Shigima Mansion Reception Room. So, it's been almost an hour since Richter left. He promised he'd call me if anything happened, but he hasn't, so nothing's happened. So all I can do is wait and wait. I know it's dangerous to go out, but I can't just sit here and let this opportunity pass me by. I have to look for her from Michio Shiraishi. But first I need to find out more soul dregs. Should I put a record on? No, it's too late for that. I'm not in the mood for music anyways. The flowers put me at ease just a little. That old hanging scroll. I've seen it too often to feel anything from it for now. I guess that's a fucking chair, to be fair. Come to think of it, I never offered him any tea. Not that I ever learned how to make it. I'm waiting for Richter to contact me, but he hasn't. It's a fax machine. I rarely find a use for it. I don't know anyone else who owns one. What's this? A newspaper? It must have fallen off the chair. We'll get to that in a second. There's nothing at this hour. I see no point in turning it on. My husband used to complain that it was too dark, but I rather liked the gloom. I didn't even see that the first time. The ticking seems so loud, it just goes to show how quiet it is. Yep, we'll read it. It's a newspaper. I only leave them in here for guests. I hardly ever read them myself. I don't think I've taken the time to go over one in years, in fact. Well, it's not like I have anything better to do. Looks like the city's biggest problem right now is pollution. I remember how the air and water used to be even more polluted. The river was covered in scum for all the sewage and industrial waste, and it stank so badly it'd make my eyes water. Eventually, people started getting sick, and it couldn't be ignored anymore. Fortunately, it's gotten better since then. Although the air around the industrial district is still filthy with gas and smog. There's one thing Honjo never wants for his horrific crimes. They found a police officer dead in a local park just the other day. A lot of my so that's why they were there. The other officers. A lot of my family are in the police. I hope it wasn't anybody I knew. I don't read the news anymore, not since last year. It brings back bad memories. Suicide at local high school. I remember that a high school girl jumped off a roof about a week ago. She was bullied, I think, or maybe it was something about exam pressure. ... What? But no, this can't be right. Her name, Michiru Shiraishi from Komagata High School. It can't be. But how did the fucking I feel like he would, like, have known. I don't know why he didn't mention that. And how didn't the other guy know? That was literally hours ago, and that bitch died a week ago. All sorts of articles about the current state of the economy. Now that the post-war boom has passed its peak, we're moving into an era of large corporations. It's about 220 to 230 yen to the dollar. Manufacturing is on the rise and exports are healthy. The dollar's down from its height, and people are saying it could fall further. There's no denying how much the standard of living has improved in the past few years. It's common to own a car and television now, and supermarkets are better stocked than ever. Although with everyone flocking to the city, land prices are skyrocketing. Nowadays, most people can only dream of home ownership. Oh boy, don't... The city center is going to be nothing but apartments before long. I'm not exactly a businesswoman, so this feels like another world to me. Now that everyone has more spending money to go around, people are coming up with all kinds of new diversions. It seems like only yesterday that people were flocking to the arcades to shoot aliens, but now we have these enormous theme parks and gaming machines that plug straight into your own televisions. Everyone's talking about superhero series, foreign films, and movies based on the latest bestseller. Back in my day, fusion rock and folk music was all the rage, but now it's all about city pop and idols. I find it hard to care about that sort of thing anymore. I hear the new big thing is some mascot line of delinquent birds, mockingbirds I think it's called. Was that what Richter was talking about? Trends seem to have such short shelf lives now with how quickly the times are changing. I think I'm just too old to keep up anymore. It's young people who are ledging the way with their modern worldviews. My generation will only fall further behind. Everyone attends high school now, even girls' universal education policy they call it. The country's gotten rich enough that every child can go to school. Education is the backbone of modern society. If you want to work for a good company, you have to get into a good university. With more people in the running than ever, the competition to get into those universities has gotten fierce though. The new generation is rebelling. Schoolyard violence and delinquency are on the rise. But my boy was too sensible to get mixed up in any of that. ... I don't want to read anymore. It'll only remind me of him. I don't really watch much television. It feels as if all the information in the world gets passed through that little black box. The father stopped them from reporting on kidnapping back when it happened. I was glad about that. Less fuss. Now the comedy boom is over. All the comedians are flocking to the other genres. The occult seems really popular at the moment. Look at all these paranormal specials. Michiyo Shiraishi, the same girl who witnessed my son's kidnapping, committed suicide last week. But that means Mr. Junoichi was terrified of someone who already died? Is that what he meant by a curse? I can't work this out on my own. Maybe Richter will know. Why won't he call? Oh, I haven't left it off the hook, have I? I'm waiting for Richter to contact me, but he hasn't. I've made sure the receiver's on the hook. It'll ring as soon as he calls. Ah! That must be him. Bro, of course we're gonna fucking answer, dumbass. Hello? Shigima residence. 2 a.m. Komagata Bridge. What's up, partner? Actually, let me see. No. I just want to see if we can see when we meet this guy, but it doesn't allow me to. Richard called me out to meet him, and we came here to Komagata Bridge. So why am I staying inside, my guy? Richard, something I need to tell you. Funny, I was just thinking the same thing. We're on Komagata Bridge over the Sumida River. There's a highway on one side and a freeway on the other, but they're both deserted this late at night. One of the bridges spanning the Sumida River, completed in 1927 as a part of the reconstruction effort following the Great Kanto earthquake, is notable both for its distinctive blue arches and the cutting edge for the time techniques used in its construction. There are many bridges stretching across the Sumida River, each boasting a unique structural form and design. Sumida River. The water is filthy and horrid, but at night when it still looks almost peaceful. Can I ask you something, ma'am? Is the Sumida River what you Honjo folks picture when you think of home? I can't say. All I can tell you is that I can hardly stand the sight of it. ... Right, should have guessed. This is where they found him after he went missing. This is where they found him after he went missing, all alone floating in that horrible water. All I can think All I could think is how scared he must have been, how cold he must have been. What did he ever do to deserve something so awful? ... I've come here every day since then, and I prayed to the river to give me back my son. Day after day, ... You know, in olden times, people believed rivers marked where our worlds met the next. ... So the act of crossing flowing water had a huge amount of spiritual significance. Back when Edo was founded, the people of Chuo saw the Sumida River the same way. They associated the far side of the river with the afterlife, and that same place would later become Honjo. All the fears and revolutions accumulated there took root. But then the Ryogoku Bridge sprang up after the Great Fire Maireki. And just like that, Honjo was part of the city too. And as it turned out, as it turned from farmland into a town, the people surrounded it with man-made rivers and crisscrossed it with canals and waterways. Weren't those to prevent flooding? That's why I was told. They were, but that's not all they were for. Their purpose was to contain all the corruption that had built up on the far shore and stop it leaking through our side of the Great Divide. Officially, they were physical barriers, but unofficially, they were spiritual ones too. So if I have this right, we're saying that Honjo is a place where the real world meets the afterlife. Exactly, that's why the rite of resurrection is here rather than anywhere else. I'm sure of it. And it's probably why the 7 mysteries of their curses have survived to the modern day. And I guess that would make this spot we're standing now right over the water, the border between life and death. If there ever was a place where bringing back the dead might be possible, I reckon it's here. It's funny that you mentioned praying to the river that might have done more than you think. Is that supposed to make me feel better? Just thinking aloud, ma'am. Well, it's a nice thought. A Class A river that is part of the Arakawa River, yeah. During the Edo period, Sumida riverbanks played a key role in the transportation. It was also a place for the common folk to gather and enjoy activities such as seasonal flower viewing or river bathing. There became plagued with sewage issues when the surrounding environs were industrialized in the post-war period, but the situation has improved since many unique bridges span the Sumida River, including the Ryogoku and Azumabashi bridges, which attract a large number of visitors as sightseeing spots. Massive fireworks display in the summer are always sure to draw a crowd. The river has served as a cornerstone for both the city and its people, having both aided in its developments and several as an inspiring backdrop for countless works of art and literature. I wanted to talk to you, Blood, but I'm assuming I'll get a chance. Oh, that's right. There's one more memory I have of this river. Do you mind if I tell you? Go ahead. Must have been about 20 years now, when I was still a schoolgirl. Back then, the Sumida River was much filthier than it is now. It was full of garbage and industrial discharge. It was scummy and slimy, and it stank. You could look out over the water and see dead cats and dogs and pigeons just floating. And one day, among all the filth and garbage, there was a piece of my missing classmate's hand. What? It was almost a miracle when you stopped to think about it. What were the chances that someone would find a part of her that was still recognizable? And that although everything but the palm had rotted away in the river, that part that was left would have been an identifiable scar. And that they could tell there had been a murder from the blade marks on the bone. ... Wait. Are you talking about the Shigima murderers? So you have heard of it, I'm impressed. I assume you were but an elementary schooler at the time. I wasn't really aware of it then, I only heard about it after the fact. I had no idea the victim was a classmate of yours. The Shigima murderers, a notorious case from over 2 decades ago involving the murders of a female high school student. First came to the attention of the authorities when part of a human hand was discovered. Testing revealed it belonged to a missing female high school student, as it appeared to have been severed deliberately. the police launched a murder investigation. A large-scale search of the river was organized, but the highly polluted state of the water made this impossible. Visibility was poor, the stench was intense, and the divers quickly fell ill. They succeeded in recovering only the victim's head and what appeared to be part of her leg before the search was called off. At the time of the incident, the Sumida River was as polluted as it had ever been. Neither fish nor shellfish could survive in it, eventually causing the annual fireworks festival to be called off indefinitely. Over the course of the search, the police discovered a number of unidentified human bones. This caused a stir among the public, as several other young women had gone missing in recent years in the Tokyo area, and it was feared that they may have fallen victim to the same fate. Forensic technologies at the time, however, were not advanced enough to determine the identities of the deceased, and so the police were unable to make any inquiries. Due to the overwhelming lack of circumstantial evidence, the investigation ground to a halt until a hit Herdo, unrelated individual, came to its attention. During a questioning about a separate incident, Fumichika Najima, a 36-year-old shop owner with no relation to the victim, divulged details about her that had never been released to the general public. An investigation into his background was conducted, leading to his arrest. Then Najima testified that he had snatched his victims from the street and confined her in the underground storeroom of his shop, which he also served as his living quarters. He chose her for no special reason, but simply decided she was an opportune target on seeing her walking alone at night. After keeping her locked up for several days, he restrained her, sewed her mouth shut, and severed her fingers and toes with a box cutter. While she was still conscious, as she screamed silently behind her sealed lips, he proceeded to her wrists, her ankles, her elbows, her knees, working his way inwards slowly and methodically. His victims constantly wavered in and out of consciousness. Her ordeal continued until she died of blood loss. Najima dismembered the rest of her body. Najima dismembered the rest of her body and disposed of it behind his home in the Sumida River before cleaning his storeroom and returning to his everyday routine as if nothing had happened. The brutality of his actions shocked the nation when they were eventually reported. Once apprehended, Najima readily divulged the details of the murder, but was less willing to explain his motive. When asked, he would only break down in tears, saying, "I don't know what came over me. I know it was wrong." In the end, the police could extract nothing more from him than expressions of remorse. Although the efficiency of his methods strongly suggested that he had committed similar crimes in the past, no corroborating evidence ever came to light. Najima was sentenced to life in prison at his first hearing. The sentence was imposed with no appeal from the defendant. Bruh. I don't know what's the point of him, though. You know what I mean? Like, what's the... Like, why are they showing us this, is what I'm saying. Because obviously he's in fucking jail, so... To be honest, it was all a bit of a blur. A wave of chaos was parting around me. Something like that. They said the rest of her body must have sunk to the bottom of the river. They combed the riverbeds, but they only ever found the pieces. Everything else must have rotted and flowed out to sea. Afterwards, I heard that all the divers who had been looking for her fell ill. A sorry story for everyone involved, huh? It's funny. Everyone figures the river's filthy already, so one more piece of garbage won't hurt, but every little bit makes it worse. It's a vicious cycle. I know I wouldn't want to go rooting around down there myself. That's right, which is why the riverbed is the last place anybody would go looking, or so was the killer's thinking, I suppose. The times were changing quickly back then. Things were confusing. Everyone seemed to be in a hurry. Young people were moving to Tokyo in droves. Some even ran away from home to make it in the big city. They made easy targets for bad people. A lot of them ended up disappearing without a trace. ... You see, back then, if you chopped a body up into tiny pieces and threw it in the river, it would rot quickly and discreetly and sink to the bottom, never to be seen again. Are you saying what I think you're saying? They arrested him shortly after. Fumichika Najima The man who killed my classmate cut her into pieces. He was so methodical about it, it couldn't have been his first crime. And people began to wonder how many other girls he'd murdered the same way. The police never found any evidence of the murders in the end, but the river knows the truth. ... How many corpses has it swallowed up over the years, I wonder? That same thought spread through everyone's mind, and they started to avoid this area. So really, this river has been rank with corruption for decades now. Or at least, that's how it seems to me. Well, was that interesting? Well, I can see why you don't have any good memories of this river. With all the darkness alluring beneath the surface, there's no reason that you would. Still, if I may, ma'am, I'm surprised you know so much about the Najima murders, but how could I not? After all, I was the one who found the hand. I mean, she said that at the beginning, no? Like, the police actually wrote me a thank you letter. They said it was only thanks to me that they managed to bring Najima to justice. That was the only time my father ever said he was proud of me. Huh. Guess it just wasn't the killer's day. Sometimes I wonder if he resents me for it. Well, maybe he's the one that fucking killed your son. I'm pretty sure, like, I don't want to understand that twist. I'm pretty sure she's the one that said that she found it at the very fucking beginning. I have nothing but awful memories of it. Okay, can you click the check mark? Thank you. It doesn't make sense. I mean, they were trying to hint at that she's the one that did it, but... And maybe they got the wrong guy, but how would they get that guy to confess? Or to confess that he did it, you know? He's gazing down at the water. Sitting around is the last thing I want to do, or be doing right now. This is my only chance to bring my son. I can't afford to fritter it away. I'll go first. There's something I need to tell you. What's up? Well, that girl Michiyo Shiraishi, the one who was with Shuichi on the day of the kidnapping, that's her. Well, she's dead. She's what? The student who committed suicide last week, that was her. I heard something like that had happened. Never got the name, though. Talk about bad luck. We finally get a lead, only to find it's turned into a literal dead end. Unless her death was the whole reason Junoichi was so shaken up. He said she was going to curse him. Was he talking about her taking revenge from beyond the grave? Seems like we're back where we started. Not necessarily. That teacher knows something, I'm sure of it. At the very least, I'd put my money on him having something to do with Mrs. Shiraishi's death. And that's why he's so scared of being cursed by her. I see. And also, something tells me he knows more about your son's kidnapping. ... In any case, I think I've got a good idea of what he's hiding. Call it a hunch. A hunch? Well, more of a theory. Care to take a guess? What, that, like, he told the girl to, like, he's the mastermind of that shit? Is that what you're trying to get at? I can't say for certain, but Mr. Junichi, silence, with blackmail. What is Mr. Junichi's science? Michiho Shiraishi with blackmail. What do you think? Exactly my thinking. Junichi knew about Mrs. Shiraishi's connections to the kidnapping, and he used that to blackmail her into doing his bidding. He made her feel so trapped she took her own life to escape. That's my read on it. How despicable. Well, it's just a theory. Right now, I think we need to have another chat with Mr. Junoichi. I agree. Please go ahead. Alright then. I've been poking around the place connected to the 7 mysteries, looking for curse bearers, and I think I found a few candidates. First, the tall man I ran into in Kinishibori Park. I asked him for directions, trying to probe him a little, but he turned the questions right back around on me. And he was out of there the second he figured I wasn't what he was looking for. I got the sense curses were nothing new to him. I'm about 40% sure he's a curse bearer. Then there's this middle-aged guy I saw on South Warigesu Street. There's no question about it. He had one of the curse stones in his hand. He had a nervous air about him. It was clear he was up to some shady business, gathering soul dregs. I bet he'd make a good target. Next up is a pair, a young man and a woman I saw around Ryogoku Bridge. This time the man came up to me and asked me flat out if I was a curse bearer. I told him I didn't know what he was talking about, and he backpedaled and left. Looks like they're lurking around there often, looking for kindred spirits, should be my guess. Though it didn't seem like they were quite working as a pair. Gathering soul dregs in a group might be a decent idea if you can make it work. But with things being how they are, it's got to be hard to find folks one can trust. They've got brass, though. I don't know what their deal is, but I'd like to find out. Last is two detectives I've seen sniffing around. The police are involved? Not necessarily. A body turned up in a local park a few days ago, so they might just be looking into that. Still, the park got ties to one of the 7 mysteries. Might be it. It was a curse that did the guy in. And if they're sending in detectives from the head office, then something's got to be up. How do you know where they're from? Let's just say that when you're in this business, there are some faces you get to know. Anyways, that's everyone who's caught my eye. You found all of them in so little time? I really did hire the best. It's all in the name, ma'am. Richter Kai P.I. No, wait. Make that Richter Kai investigator extraordinaire. An investigator extraordinaire. Is that why you could dress like that without drawing attention to yourself? You bet. An investigator's an extraordinaire can blend in like a chameleon in any outfit. Well, that aside, the middle-aged man and the young couple sound the most promising. Am I right? Whichever we pick, it's still too early to make a move. Seems like the curse bearers are less involved with each other than we thought. Plus, there's still others we don't know about. I say we hang fire and see how many things play out. Once more bodies start showing up, that'll get the pot nice and hot. And once it's boiling, our chance will come. Is something wrong? Not really, it just struck me. It's been 20 years since the Shigima murders. So it has. Not to spook you or anything, but I thought you might be interested in knowing. Life in prison doesn't always mean life. There's a precedent for the first-time offenders being allowed out on parole after 20 years. Only if they're found to show remorse and the desire to reform themselves, of course. That's right, I'm impressed you know so much. Still, it's hard for someone with a criminal record to reintegrate into society. I hear they've been trying to fix that recently, matching inmates with jobs and accommodations. Oh, really? They keep an eye on them, of course, and making them report in for regular checkups, but to avoid discrimination, they keep the inmates' records a secret from everyone but their employers. They even give particular notorious criminals new identities so they won't be recognized in the new workplace. My. The way you put it, ... It's like you're saying Fumichika Nejima could be out on parole right now, back in society under a new name, with nobody any the wiser. It's possible. As it happens, a little bird told me about a big name making parole a few months back. I don't know if that was Nejima, but our discussion just now did bring it to mind. Well, I mean, what's-her-face her son died a couple, what was it, 2 years ago, a year ago? So it's not him. I see. How unsettling. Now that you mention it, I just remember something too. What was it? I was passing Komagata High School a little while ago when I saw someone. A janitor, I think. I could have sworn he reminded me of Fumichika Nejima. Oh? He looked a little different after 20 years, much thinner than I remembered, too. I told myself I was just seeing things. But perhaps it was him after all. ... Oh shit, that's why they introduced his picture to us. So, what next? The big question now is what the rest of the curse bearers are up to. Luckily, the Sumida River is a good distance from any of the 7 mysteries. It's unlikely the other curse bearers will come all the way here. I can finally have a moment to think. I see. Alright. Hello? The fuck is suspend? You cannot currently progress any. Oh, okay. Once your situation has changed, select resume. Okay. I get it. Okay. So you're gonna tell me to come back later and do that shit. Makes sense. Makes sense.